Yo, what's up? And welcome to episode 41 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me as he does every week is my main man, Woody V. Woods, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to be here. Nice to kick off this second season of our show, man. It was a really good outpouring of support for the first episode we did.
Yeah, we've had a great amount of sort of views and downloads and that. Yeah, it's good to sort of be back with the weekly routine. We're sort of slightly differing nights, I think. I think we did a Wednesday last week. It's Thursday, the 25th of August as we record this. But yeah, looking forward to get into it. So look, just a reminder before we sort of go any further, just where to find us, just all the usual podcast channels. And of course, please rate, like, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. All right, Woods, as we do every week, we'll showcase our jerseys. Why don't you take us away?
Yeah, sure, man.
So Woody's standing up, wearing a very nice-looking number 15 Cairns Taipans Nate Jawai jersey. So certainly someone that Woody's a big fan of there in Nate Jawai. I'm liking that one, Woods. I've got his Wildcats jersey somewhere in the cupboard.
Yeah, huge fan. And since I'll be previewing the Cairns Taipans today, I thought I'd wear this in tribute to him because he's been released from his contract, doesn't have an NBL team at this stage. As we said, there's a few bigs out there, that haven't been signed yet, and Nate Jawai is one, a veteran that could, be at the end of one of those benches as a locker room presence, right?
Yep.
I mean, just a little bit about him. The work he's done off the court for the Indigenous community, the kind of ambassador he's been, has just been brilliant, And, his game has taken him all over the world. I recall that 2008 season when he was a rookie. I was like, I didn't know much about him then. I'm like, who's this import big guy that they've got, the Cairns Taipan? And I mean, how can they fit Larry Abney? And they had another import and this other import guy. And then I had to look up and find out that he's actually a local, right?
It does seem like he's been around forever though, right? I guess like 3 decades now. If you're talking sort of the noughties, the whatever you call the teens and the 20s now or whatever, but yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he joined the Cairns Marlins way back in 2004 in the lower leagues, would have been the Queensland Basketball League or whatever back then. And he got his first professional contract after he came out of the AIS with the Taipans in 2007-8. He was Rookie of the Year that year, and he just, he turned heads. And I remember Chris Anstey saying, look, this guy's not going to be in this league for much longer. And next season, basically, 2008, in that 2008 draft, he was the 41st pick in the second round by the Indiana Pacers. And, he had a short-lived NBA career with Toronto and Minnesota. He didn't actually suit up for Indiana. He was traded. And he put up some pretty good games, playing under Kurt Rambis, one of your favorite coaches of all time. But he learned from the likes of Al Jefferson on that team. And I remember he had 16 points, 6 boards in one game. And, he showed that back then the back to the basket center was still something that was, looked at as productive in the world,
Yeah, it shows how things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah. And then he had a great career all over Europe and, built a name for himself, represented the Boomers. He's won a championship with your Perth Wildcats, correct?
Certainly has, yeah. Hey, just don't call him out back Shaq though, right? He's not a fan of
no way, man. 2015-16 with Perth Wildcats. And he's been back with the Cairns Taipans for 6 years. Little bit of information that a lot of people don't know. He is Danny Morso's nephew, and so is Paddy Mills on 2 separate sides. So Paddy Mills and him are really close. They're related. Bala, as he's affectionately called by Paddy, he's a good friend and relative, actually. So a lot of people don't know that there's that connection there through Danny Morso to both of them, and both of them being huge ambassadors for, as I said, the Indigenous community. And my last question to you is, will he find a team this year? Will someone pick him up,
Interesting. Well, obviously, we got the news yesterday that Cam Bairstow's retired. We know AJ's retired. So as far as I know, for the local bigs, it's only him and Matt Hodgson. I'm kind of shocked that Hodgson still doesn't have a team, to be honest, but his stocks are fallen. But you never know, do you? Could be like an injury type replacement. It just depends on whether teams are looking to go young, right, with this sort of center position. They want to go the young route there, or do they want to get that experienced sort of veteran that they know is a good locker room presence? So I hope he gets one more go around.
Yeah,
I don't know, he's running out of time, isn't he now?
He is. I mean, just on that, by the way, Cam Bairstow retiring really surprised me after the great season he had last year.
100%.
Right?
His injuries must have been a bit worse than what we sort of. I think it's back injuries that he's had over the years, sort of thing. But yeah, it's a shame. I mean, to lose him and like AJ, that's 2 legends of Australian basketball. Have really represented the country.
Really surprised me. AJ, maybe I get it, but Cam Bairstow had just had a renaissance here last year, and I'm surprised.
He's shooting last year. My goodness, he was
must have been injuries, man.
Must be. No, definitely a nice jersey that one. Woods always like to see a bit of Hungry Jacks on a burger too. I wouldn't mind a Whopper right now, but no, it's a good one there. So I appreciate that. Well, look, as obviously you're sort of wearing a Cairns jersey, you're talking about Cairns today. I actually had to cheat a little bit this week, to be honest. So I'm covering the Brisbane Bullets this week. So with the emphasis on Bullets, right? This incredible jersey collection I've got, I actually don't have a Brisbane Bullets jersey in there, surprisingly. I know you've got a couple there, one or two, I think. So I thought I'd cheat in a way, and I'm hanging over my shoulder a Washington Bullets jersey. So we got the Bullets on there somehow. But look, continuing with that NBA and NBL theme that I sort of spoke about last week. So, yeah, that one hanging up there is a Wes Unseld Washington Bullets throwback Reebok jersey from 1977-78. So great years there, Woods. 78's my birth year there. So, look, a little bit on the late Wesley Unseld. He sadly passed away in 2020. Played 13 years in the NBA after getting drafted out of Louisville by the then Baltimore Bullets with the second overall pick in 68 behind Elvin Hayes. Unseld played his entire career with the Bullets, and pretty impressive list of accolades there, Woods. So NBA champ and finals MVP in 78. MVP and Rookie of the Year in 69. So MVP and a Roy in the same year. That's pretty incredible. 5-time All-Star. Of course, he was a member of the 50th and 75th anniversary teams. And those that are sort of following the game closely now will know that his son, Wes Unseld Jr., is the current head coach with the Wizards there. So it's kind of keeping that theme there. So now, Woods, the main part I always loved about Unseld's game was his full court passing. So as you know, that's a part of my game that I can still do pretty well. So, yeah, I always sort of followed him. I got you a few easy baskets over the years from those long passes.
You have, man. Nice. Me cherry picking and you chucking them. Yeah,
that's it. I think that's one thing. Even if you lose all your other sort of skills, I can still throw a ball, 50 meters or whatever I need to throw. But no, Unseld was just
touchdown passes. And if you look on YouTube, you can see a lot of them.
100%. Man. If anyone hasn't seen him go on there, he can literally throw it baseline to baseline, just this flat sort of pass there. So
get the rebound, bang straight away. Yeah,
great player, and he was a big boy, wasn't he? So yeah.
Hey, just on that jersey, man. I've got that jersey, right? And anyone who's a fan of The Wire, I think in season 1 on the streets, there's one of the guys wearing that jersey. I'm like, that is fly, man. That's drip, man. I saw it and I'm like, yo, I want that jersey right away. So I ordered it on the back of seeing that very jersey on season 1 of The Wire. So any fans of the show, you'll see that jersey showcase
right?
there. Yeah, man.
Washington are bringing back an old jersey this year for a retro, but it's not that one. It's that sort of late 90s kind of all blue one. So all right, so for my NBL jersey this week, pretty random one. Custom made jersey. Woods and I have sort of got a few of this guy that does these in the past. Not a lot of these going around, so I'll just stand up and show the viewers what I'm wearing, and you can just give us a little bit of info on that one, Woods.
Yep. The classic Aqua North Melbourne Giants retro jersey Robbie's wearing. Chris Jent. Amazing, man. I think you're the only one with a Chris Jent jersey.
How's that for a jersey, right? Representing, he was a 5-year assistant coach with our Atlanta Hawks there.
Yep.
Look, a little bit on Chris Jent there, Woods. He only played very short stint in the NBA, 2 seasons and only 6 regular season games in the NBA after going undrafted in 92. But he was actually a pretty important player in that 94 Houston Rockets championship team. So he actually played 11 games in that final series. So he's actually got more finals games than regular season games on his resume. Honestly, for this guy, though, it was his one season in the NBL that I'll forever remember him. We talk about great one-and-done NBL imports. Yep. So I think this guy should be right at the top of anyone's list, and he's not. He always gets forgotten about a bit. But he played with North Melbourne in 95, averaged just under 26 points and 7 rebounds with a career high of 46. The Giants finished that season in second place, and he led the team to the 95 finals, where, unfortunately for Jent, they lost 2-1 to the best ever sporting franchise in Australia. But, obviously no harm sort of losing there. And, look, obviously Jent was in the news recently. He just signed on with the LA Lakers in the off-season as an assistant coach under his close friend Darvin Ham. So those two have been together for quite a while, sort of as assistant coaches there. So little quick story about Jent there, Woods. So I used to go and watch him play a lot back in the day with my brother and a great mate of mine, Streety. So we used to go to those games, and we were sort of sitting quite close one game. This Chris Jent, he was crazy. I'm telling you. He was like basically yelling at himself the whole game, yelling out, "Come on, Chris," whether he do something good and bad. He was slapping himself in the head. He was doing all these sort of things. And that was what stuck with me there. This guy played with such passion and intensity. And, he's had that nice looking sort of left hand sort of shot as well. So, yeah, very entertaining player, and thought it would sort of, nice to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane today there, Woods, and talk about Chris Jent. So, got a lot of bobbleheads. I'm sorry I don't have a Wes Unseld or Chris Jent bobblehead, so we'll have to
Two beautiful jerseys in terms of aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
to the
they're nice,
the ones
aren't
you've got today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, good stuff. Well, that's the jersey. So, look, we'll get on to part 2 of the show, Woods, and we're sort of just calling this a bit of a quick hits segment, right? So, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA, WNBA, Big 3, and NBL1. So, we've certainly got all the leagues covered and, all the people sort of interested in covered there. So, I just wanted to start with the NBA news. I guess probably the biggest sort of news, and nothing, anything sort of, earth-shattering there. But LeBron signed his 2-year deal worth $97 million over 2 years with a third-year player option. So he would have been a free agent going into next season if that deal wasn't made this week. So what were your thoughts on that signing there, Woods?
Well, I don't think he was going anywhere. I mean, James hasn't appeared to be, saying anything on social media about departing LA or anything. He's praised the hiring of Darvin Ham, who you just spoke of. There's been plenty of off-season chatter, but he seemed unlikely to relocate after, he spent the last 4 years there with the Lakers. His family's settled there. He's got a life there, And he intends to potentially play with his son Bronny, right?
I think that's a shorter contract. What do you think about those dollar figures, Woods? Because a few people are saying, potentially he could have taken less money, but I think LeBron still probably, and maybe understandably, thinks he was probably underpaid a little bit. He's very rarely been the highest player on his own team his whole career. So
that contract's 2 years, $97 million.
97, so
97, right? So
when you think what the guy brings,
that'll take him through 2024. When's Bronny eligible?
I think basically after that, if assuming he does like 2 years in college. So I think it's all kind of aligned with that. And who knows, he may end up sort of going to whoever his son gets drafted by and just signing a minimum contract. So, interesting to see.
Hey, look, if AD can get fit this year, maybe they can make a little bit of noise, right?
Yeah, big if there. But, you're right. I mean, I was sort of reading something about Anthony Davis this week. It's crazy to think he's still in his 20s, right? He's still at that prime part of his career, but it seems like he's been around for so long and had all these injuries. It feels like he's, early to mid-30s or whatever. It's sort of strange, isn't it? But, looking forward to that. And the other sort of probably news that came out yesterday, and look, we won't spend too long on this because he's given probably everyone too much content, is the Kevin Durant news there, Wood. So, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I wore the Brooklyn hat today, just a bit of a shout out to Brooklyn getting it done. I mean, I think Pat Beverly came out and said, look, this has really held up all of us in the open market because everyone's been waiting for the penny to drop with will KD get traded or not, and then teams are going to make decisions on their free agencies depending on that. So a lot of people remain unsigned, so it's really affected the market, right?
And Beverly got traded today, I believe, as well. So maybe preempted that.
And you know what? It's good that Sean Marks has come out in a statement saying, look, we're moving forward together as a franchise to, try and win a championship. And look, if you do get a fit, we've said this before, get a fit Ben Simmons, we don't know what he's going to play like, right? That's the other thing, because, he hasn't really suited up since that infamous game versus our Hawks. But then, as we said, all those other pieces, Kyrie, KD, if they can all get on the same page, Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Joe Harris coming back, TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal. I mean, that's a really good-looking roster, man.
It's got a lot of good pieces there. Kevin Durant, to me, just seems like he's one of those guys that I think he's changed more his personality and persona more than probably any other NBA player I can think of from what he was like when he first came in. So I always wonder with him, is he just got bad people around him giving him bad advice, or he just seemed to be such an easygoing, fun-loving, love the game type of guy, and he just seems to be difficult now. Just with whatever he does, he's difficult and just combative and argumentative about stuff. So maybe he's just getting a bit grumpy in his old age there. But interesting.
I mean, I remember when he won that MVP award and he got out on stage and one by one he called up all his players, even Hasheem Thabeet, Steven Adams, and what they meant to him and how this award was all theirs, not just his. And that Kevin Durant compared to the guy he is today, they're like two
night and day, isn't it?
Polar opposite people, man. So you're very right. Yeah.
I'll state it frankly, he just seems like a prick these days, to be honest. Like, I don't know what the story is. I don't know what he would be actually like as a teammate, sort of in the locker room and that. But it's interesting. It's certainly a big change in there. So, all right, we'll maybe not talk about KD for a few weeks now, because I think there's probably been way too many people sort of weighing in on that. So, all right, well, just from the NBA, we'll just quickly go on to the WNBA there, Wood. So I'm not sure if you've been following the playoffs there, but the semi-finals are basically finalised today. So the two series will be between Seattle and Las Vegas in one semi, and the other matchup will be between Chicago and Connecticut. So these were actually the four best teams in the WNBA this season. So it's good that it's kind of worked out that way. They'll be playing in the semis there. Look, I've definitely enjoyed following the games. I'm just sort of hoping that ESPN show a few more games, to be honest. Literally all these semi games, I'll click on my Foxtel Go. No, they're not showing it today. They're showing a 30 for 30 show that's been on 100 times on ESPN. So hopefully they'll step it up a bit more in the semis. And look, probably we've got to say, Woods, as Aussies, we probably have to cheer on Seattle and hope they win it all right.
Definitely.
They've got some important Aussies on that team that we'll be cheering on in the World Cup next month as well. So, yeah, be watching that with interest. So hopefully Seattle can sort of get up there.
Definitely.
All right, so to the WNBA to something even more obscure to that, Woods. So I'm a big fan of the Big3, Woods. Although that's very hard to find these days. Well, I'm one of the few people that are. I think probably because it started, Josh Smith was playing and a few other people like that. But yeah, basically that was all wrapped up this week with Team Trilogy winning the title on Monday versus Team Power. Comprehensive 16-point win, so not much of a game there. So it's actually back-to-back titles for the Trilogy and the Big3 and their third overall Big3 championship. So they're certainly the team to sort of beat in that competition there. So a few names on that team that our listeners and viewers might sort of remember there. So Earl Clark, Amir Johnson, James Flight White, Isaiah Briscoe, David Hawkins. Of course, they're coached by none other than Captain Jack, Stephen Jackson, who actually played on those first couple of year teams. I think he's a little bit too high to be playing at the moment. But, yeah, he's the coach of that team there. And the Power had some pretty decent guys on that team as well. So old man Cat Mobley. This is the one that got me, Woods. Nicolas Skeetervili.
Skeetishvili.
You said it better than me, but yeah.
I saw him on the roster there.
I thought that guy had disappeared, but yeah, I mean, he's a big unit, isn't he? But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's still got some athleticism or some fitness, he'd be all right. And then also Royce White. So if I'm not mistaken, he was Royce White that was Mr. T, right? He wouldn't fly.
He couldn't fly, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And they Murdoch used to have to knock him out to put him on the plane, and then they get a plan together, right? Or something like that. Yeah. You got no idea what I'm talking about.
No, you're talking about the A-team guy, right?
Talking about the A-team, yeah.
Yeah, man, of course I know. Come on, man.
God, we just looked a bit confused.
Yeah.
And of course, Glenn.
No, because I didn't know about Murdoch knocking him out. That's the only thing.
Well, he had to, because
they
refused to fly. So, and Glenn Rice Jr. was on that team, so hopefully he's behaving himself a little bit more than what he did in the NBL there.
Come on, man.
That's a few bad stories about that guy. So, big congrats to Team Trilogy on that one. And look, just finally in this little quick hits segment there, Wood, so we'll keep it moving there. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the NBL1. Certainly people know how much I love this competition. So the semi-finals will be taking place around the country this weekend. Just wanted to sort of briefly talk about how the finals will work. So basically on the 9th to the 11th of September, the finals will be played in Melbourne. So all at the MSAC Centre, I believe it is. It's really interesting sort of format. They've done a little bit of a round robin type thing. So matching up two conferences to play in a knockout type format. So the men's in that competition will feature West versus Central, South versus North, and Wildcard versus East. So I actually like the chances of the NBL1 East, who obviously, I cover the Hills Hornets there, for whoever wins that potentially, getting through that wildcard game and getting through to potentially the last four in that competition. So there's some big matchups in that NBL1 East this weekend. Actually, Maitland play Sunderland, and then Illawarra take on Canberra with my boy Kiwi Gardner playing for Illawarra. So I'm sure he'll put up 30 points and about 10 steals. So yeah, we'll certainly obviously keep everyone updated as the finals gets closer. And look, as always, I'd just like to encourage everyone to either get to the games or watch via the NBL1 app.
So all the games are going to be at Hills, right?
So all the NBL1 East, So basically the women's and men's. So Sunderland's the one team that have both the men and the women's team playing. Obviously Albury will be there with Lauren Jackson and the All-Star team that they've got there. That Sunderland team is very good too with Lauren Nicholson and some other really good players as well there. So. Yeah. So, all right. So that's the quick hit sort of thing, Wood. So, all right. Why don't we sort of get into these NBL team previews? I know we had some good feedback for with the previews last week. So, do you want to maybe take us away this week, Woods? And you're going to be talking about Cairns this week.
Yeah, for sure, Robbie. So I'll just bring up the roster as it stands. So for those who can't see, a lot of work done in the off-season by this Cairns team. So returning will be Taj McCall, Majok Deng, Mirko Jeric, Bull Call, Kiana Pinder, and Ben Air, who thoroughly deserves a full-time contract. Coming in is Shannon Scott, an import, DJ Hogue, Sam Wardenberg from the University of Miami, Leigh Mayen, University of Nebraska, and Jonah Antonio. So some young Australian talent coming into the team. The depth chart as it stands at point guard, there's going to be Shannon Scott and Ben Air. At the shooting guard position, Taj McCall, Mirko Jeric, and Antonio. At small forward, DJ Hogue, Bull Call, and Mayen. Wardenberg at power forward with Deng, and Pinder at center. So they've still probably got, this. It's funny that Jawai is not in this team because they're still looking for a backup center and they got rid of him, right?
Hey, Wardenberg and Antonio were two pretty good signings there, weren't they? I think every team wouldn't have minded getting the two.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about them, man. Yeah,
you're putting me on the spot. I haven't researched it that much. much. But yeah, definitely just some quality sort of players. Obviously, I think Wardenberg's obviously a little bit younger and just come out of college. Antonio's played that 1 year in the Czech Republic. But yeah, certainly highly credentialed sort of junior Australian players there. So I think they'll probably play a big part in that.
Wardenberg's supposed to be a hell of a stretch sort of big, right? Who can fill it up from outside, dead-eye shooter, marksman. And I heard Adam Ford speak about him on the podcast on the Huddle with Liam as well. So really excited to see what he can bring to the table.
Hey Woods, your boy Keanu Pinder, I've noticed he's putting up some big scoring numbers in NBL1. What do you think he could average points-wise this year? It's certainly going to be a career high for him. I think he's going to be a lot more focal point. But what do you reckon? Could he average 15 a game?
Probably pushing it a bit. I reckon somewhere between 12 and 15 would be good for him, right?
With close to 10 boards. I mean,
10 boards, combine 2 blocks or steals, maybe even more, combine 3 blocks or steals, right?
Yeah.
And just be that. The thing about, we'll kick off. I want to talk about a few of these guys, right? So let's start off with the 2 guys who actually could have garnered more money elsewhere. In Bull Call, Rookie of the Year last year, and Keanu Pinder, Most Improved Player last year. These guys, had the accolades, won the awards. They had the unbelievable seasons last year, but they knew they would grow in this team, and they had more work to do. And under Coach Ford, who's a great development player and developmental coach, right, for players, their game could be taken to the next level. And I even heard Coach Ford say, look, if Keanu and Bull want to leave at the end of this season, I can't stop them. Do you know what I mean? But we're really happy they chose to stay. So
hey, that must have done a lot for Bull Cole. Just even being in those, Chicago sort of, practices, summer leagues and stuff. He's going to come. I'm sorry, it's stealing your thunder, but he'll come back a lot better.
No, you're not stealing my thunder at all, man. I totally agree with you, and I'm very surprised to see him there. I think DJ Hogue might even move up to the 4th spot. Very versatile player, can play the 3 or the 4. And Bull Cole might even start at small forward. It'd be a bit harsh to put him on the bench after everything he did last year.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so those 2 are the ones I want to talk about. Keanu is going to be amazing this year, and he's going to learn from all that stuff he did in the Boomers camp, going to the Asia Cup and in the qualifiers, being around Ton Maker. He's come out and said was extremely good for him to learn from a veteran like that. So he's going to come from strength to strength, and having a guy like Shannon Scott coming into the team is going to be good for him, because he's, Scotty Machado and Keanu would have been great together in high pick and rolls and stuff, and a lob threat. But because Scotty couldn't get fit last year, you found Taj McCall playing a lot of point guard position, right? So what's going to happen now with Shannon Scott coming in is Taj's got less ball handling duties. And a little bit about Shannon Scott. He's 29-year-old. He boasts international experience all over the world: Germany, Greece, Lithuania, Venezuela. And he's played in the Long Island Nets in the G League in recent seasons. He's a defensive-minded, pass-first point guard, right? And I think when a little bit of due diligence and check was done with his German club, they called him like an intelligent stockbroker. That's how to describe him as a player, because he makes educated decisions to make his teammates better. So he's going to get the ball to people like Keanu in his spots and get him involved in the game more. And it also allows a guy like Taj McCall to really move over to that 2-3 position, get at it defensively, and have less ball handling duties, because as good as Taj was, he was quite turnover
got a bit
prone.
Reckless at times, didn't he?
Turnover prone, but he was forced into having to play point guard with, no real other option on that team, right? With Scotty Machado going down.
This is another team that looks better on paper than last year, doesn't it? I think this is the 3rd team we've talked about. All of them are kind of looking better, aren't they? So like very strong league season coming up this year, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And look, maybe I'll quickly, before I hand over to you, go into my predictions for the team.
Yeah, prediction, and maybe give us some fantasy stuff as well. Start on sleeper as well. What do you reckon?
For sure. So in terms, did you see all the predictions that came out from the media guys on the top 6 in the various awards on NBL.com?
I haven't seen that yet. No, I have to check it out.
So none of them actually had Cairns in their top 6, right? I'm gonna have Cairns as 6th, right? Okay. And I'm a bit biased here because I love Cairns, but look, this team looks really good. And you look at the imports they've got this year, man. Like they've got 3 really good imports, improving Australian talent, new Australian talent coming in, and that play-in is obviously in play now, right? So the top 6 are going to make.
I want to hear it now. So you're proclaiming they're going to come 6. Tell me right now the 4 teams they're going to beat.
All right. Putting me on the spot here. Okay.
Well, you had the Wooden Spooners last week, didn't you? So that's probably 1.
New Zealand.
Yep.
I know we got Coach Jacob Jacobus coming on our show next week, so I don't want
to. You ruin the surprise. But
yeah. So okay.
Let's cut that bit out.
Yeah. Maybe Illawarra. Okay.
tough, isn't it? Because Adelaide and Brisbane have improved a lot. I've got a few worries about Tasmania.
Tassie. Yep, Tassie in the bottom four for sure. So
Yeah.
Tassie, Illawarra, New Zealand. I have to think about the fourth one, man.
Yeah, no, fair call. You'll probably say the Wildcats will finish 7th or something, knowing you being that Wildcats hater, but yeah.
No. Even I wouldn't say that, man. They'll be in the top 6. Okay, my fantasy start can't go past Taj McCall, man. He's not going to be as turnover prone this year. He's going to do a bit of everything on the court. He's going to get either steals and blocks, which are obviously gold dust. He's not going to come cheap, but he's someone you can build your team around, right?
True.
It's hard to get those guys at the SG and SF qualification. So I think Taj McCall. And in terms of sleeper, I'm gonna go Ben Air, man, because he's gonna have a role to play, and you might get him really cheap and put him on your bench. Like you had Marshall last week for your Adelaide sleeper.
Definitely. He can put up numbers, can't he? He can score at any level, Ben Air, and we know he can handle the ball and pass as well. So when
we saw him starting last year, he showed what he can do, right? So
definitely. No, I like that, Wood. So, very comprehensive preview there. Sort of, enjoying that. And like I said, just looking at that team on paper, like, wow, that's a pretty legit team. So, I don't think it's too far-fetched saying they'll finish 6th, but I think probably like we'll be saying, most of these previews, a lot of these teams seem to have got better there. So, All right, good stuff. Well, look, I might sort of go ahead and start off my preview there. So, as I mentioned sort of earlier, rocking the Washington Bullets jersey, but I'm going to be talking about the Brisbane Bullets today. So, look, Brisbane, safe to say that's a team that had one of the better off seasons. Of course, signing an absolute legend of Australian basketball, as well as a first-class import there. So just a little bit of background on Brisbane there. So they finished last season equal 7th with the 36ers, who I spoke about last week. Both teams had a 10-18 record, 6-8 at home and 4-10 away. So, nothing too amazing there. 8 games under 50%, but it was a pretty bit of a lopsided league, I think, last season, wasn't it? Woods was sort of the top half and then the bottom half there. But look, I think everyone will be expecting bigger and better things this season from the Bullets there. Been a lot of team turnover in this offseason. So as you can see, for the people that are watching this, you can see there's only 4 returning players, which is pretty crazy, isn't it? So look, and I'll just quickly go through this depth chart now and just the signings and that. So of course, Brisbane's coached by James Duncan. Just the 4 returning players, 4 Aussies there, and Nathan Sobey, Jason Kadee, Tyrell Harrison, and Tanner Krebs. The new players where it starts to get interesting there. So Aaron Baines from Toronto Raptors, would you heard of him?
Yeah, man. Yeah, great to see him back and playing and healthy. Yeah,
definitely. Tyler Johnson, so we'll talk a little bit about him. Cody Statman, so another young sort of Aussie straight out of NCAA basketball there. Harry Froling making his return to Illawarra after learning he could shoot last year and hitting 9 3-pointers in a game. DJ Mitchell. I was actually checking him out a little bit in the NBL1 last week. He can score from anywhere, that guy. He's really good.
Son of Mike Mitchell, man. Ex-Gold Coast roller and Brisbane Bullets.
Right? That's right, yeah. Then we've got Gorjak Gak, who I believe is the brother of Gak that played for Illawarra last season. NBA Summer Leagues. And Luau Ding. So I said Luau Ding. I didn't say Luau Deng. So don't think that old man Luau Deng, after he's earned his $1 billion with that Lakers contracts coming here, it's Luau Ding. In terms of that depth chart there, so pretty strong lineup here, I reckon. So point guard, you've got the import in Tyler Johnson. You've got Kadee as a pretty handy backup there. The All-Australian backcourt, the shooting guards anyway, and Sobey and Tanner Krebs. There's still actually one roster spot open here, and that's a small forward spot there. So
it's an import spot by the looks of
it. It is, yeah. So Brisbane will probably want to get a bit of a move on there and work out who they're going to get there. I'm not sure whether this could be a financial situation, Woods, obviously, with some of the players they've got in the off-season.
Is that just one import there? Right? DJ Mitchell's Australian, so he qualifies. They've only got the one import there.
I guess they're probably paying a lot of that sort of budget to Aaron Baines. He wouldn't have come cheap to get in there. So good call. I mean, that's probably good for them. They can get an import there, and then potentially, if there's any injuries, they could look at sort of shoring that up there, I guess. So, and then the power forwards, we've got DJ Mitchell and Harry Froling. So pretty interesting with Froling there that basically he essentially got traded for Deng Deng. And they basically sort of, had to swap teams after a year, then went back. So that was all a bit strange how that went back. Then the big man rotation. I mean, Aaron Baines, didn't say no more than him sort of thing. And then Harrison and Gak there. So I just wanted to say a little bit about Baines there, Wood. So just absolutely thrilled to see him back playing. He looks to be in great shape to me. I think he's going to really cause some tough matchups for all sorts of bigs across this NBL. I'm actually glad the big guy, and I'm forgetting his name, the Cairns centre last year, the big slow guy. What was his name? Your mate Zimmerman. Imagine Zimmerman trying to hang with Baines. That would have just always been like a car crash watching that. So probably good that some of the bigs in the NBL got better. But yeah, really looking forward to see him. I think a lot of people will sort of be tuning into probably a few extra Brisbane games than they would have in seasons past. And the other two probably looking forward to are Tyler Johnson, and sort of briefly mentioned DJ Mitchell, how exciting he's looking that NBL1. He can really shoot there, but Tyler Johnson would. So I wanted to talk a little bit about him. He's still only 30 years of age. This is a guy that's played 8 seasons in the NBA. 8 seasons. This is not a guy that just, had a cup of coffee in a couple of years sort of thing. Yep. So, he hasn't played a lot in the last few years, but certainly had some good success, including, 5 seasons in which he averaged in double figures. So, again, this is a really high pedigree import to the NBL to get there.
Really good coup.
Absolutely. So, look, certainly bounced around a little bit there, but I do think in the last few years in the NBA, I think his style of play will suit the NBL well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is a guy that's had multiple 30-point games in the NBA, 30-point games in the NBA. So he's going to come in and get his points pretty easily, but also set up his teammates around him. He's a very sort of smart player and everything else like that. So, I think that's a pretty amazing combo there. And it's funny, we've been talking about Brisbane for, 5 minutes or so now. Haven't even spoken about their best player last season, Woods, in Nathan Sobey. So he looks to be healthy. He's had a pretty good sort of off-season and that. So I think adding him and with some of this Aussie talent there, I really think Brisbane, should improve from last year. I still think a top 4 spot might be a little bit hard for them to make it, but can very much see them in playoff.
I'll tell you what, man. The good thing about Tyler Johnson coming here is Nathan Sobey doesn't have to play the point guard position anymore.
True.
He's been playing it for the last few years, almost a makeshift point guard, but letting him play on the wings and thrive there, Tyler's going to allow him to do that, right?
Getting some screens from Bainesy up top maybe to free himself and a bit of room there.
Absolutely, and Johnson and Baines obviously know each other from their time at Phoenix together. There's that friendship that's already existing. And if Baines does well, one question for you, I think he'd be the perfect veteran big to have as a backup in the NBA at the end of the season if he can prove his health and he can latch on to a championship run like Bogut did with the Golden State Warriors after his comeback in the NBL. Right?
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Woods? Because his focus obviously is not going to be that championship because he's already won it there. So, I mean, if someone basically said, look, we can get you at the end of the season just to play, 3 or 4 minutes a game off the bench, or he could stay here and complete this season, it might actually be a tougher call than people think there. But who knows? I could be wrong there. Maybe he's literally just itching to get back into the NBA there. But yeah, you're right. If he's certainly, there's a lot of eyes on this league these days.
He could play out the whole season here and then still go, right? Because the NBA, that's what
he just showed as well. What a smart player. I mean, he wasn't a great shooter, years ago sort of thing, and he turned into a really reliable three-point shooter. I think, was it 8 threes he hit in the game for Phoenix, or it might have even been 9, right? It was a lot of three-pointers in the game. Shocked me when he hit it anyway. So, so that's probably my talk. So, look, if I've got to lock in a spot for Brisbane there, Woods, I'm going to say I'm going to put them in 6th spot, and I'll say they'll be one spot behind the team that I spoke about last week in Adelaide. But certainly those teams will be pretty similar.
So who have you got behind them?
So I've got Cairns, Tassie definitely. I don't like Tassie this year. Sorry, Scott Roth. Illawarra, I probably need to do a bit more research on that. New Zealand. So probably sort of similar sort of levels that we were at there. It'll be interesting to see who makes up that bottom half of the league. And look, in terms of fantasy stud and sleeper, the fantasy stud, I could have picked Sobey, I could have picked Tyler Johnson, but I'm going to go Bainesy Woods. I can just really see him filling up box scores this year. His field goal percentage will be high. He hits 3-pointers. He's going to block some shots down low. And look, with that sleeper, I'll probably continue that theme we've done, with the last couple of ones with sort of a younger sort of Aussie sort of guy there. I'm going to say Tanner Krebs.
Yeah, agreed.
He's had a great NBL1 season as well. Great
yeah.
NBL1 season there. Yeah. His team's still in contention in the semis there. So I think he's one of those players, if he does get some more minutes, he'll put up some good numbers. Yep. And again, if they're only going at this stage with just the one import, there could be sort of more room for him there. So don't think they'll be bringing Lamar Patterson back. I believe he is still in Australia. So I think the NBL might be done at this stage with Lamar Patterson. But yeah, so I'll sort of say six spot for the Brisbane Bullets, but certainly another team I'm really looking forward to see how they go. This season anyway. All right, well, that was fun then, Wood. So, going through the two Queensland teams. So, next week, look, you already put the cat out of the bag. So, we're going to have a standalone preview episode next week where we're going to talk about the Illawarra Hawks. And why don't we get the head coach of the team to come on and talk about them with us, Woods? What do you reckon? So,
man. Good friend of the show.
Jacob Jackomas will be making his second appearance. So, we're really grateful for that. We've got a few name guests lined up with us next month, so keep sort of tuning in.
Definitely.
Really looking forward to have a chat about the Hawks and with the new head coach Jacob Jackomas next week. So, all right, good stuff. Well, I think it might be that time, Woods. I know last week you were battling with a bit of illness there, and we delayed the classic packs a week. And look, had a little bit of feedback. Come on, guys, we missed the classic packs and that. So it's back this week. What do you got for us?
It's been a while since I did this, man. So
excited.
really excited.
So,
of course, I've got the Upper Deck Collector's Choice Series 2 94-95, and it's got none other than Sean Bradley on the front, right?
I don't remember that cover.
Take a look at that, right?
Was he on all the covers, or did they have like random ones? I can't remember.
I think he's on the Series 2 collection.
Okay,
right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So let's do this.
Let's see how your
form is, man. Exactly, man.
That's right.
All right. Killer crossover, baby.
Tim Hardaway. Nice.
Hardaway.
And the Warriors are going to be bringing back those Run Team C style jerseys, I think, this year for a bit of a retro game there. So, yeah, love Tim Hardaway. Great player.
I've got his jersey somewhere here as well. So
Nice.
Okay. He disappeared. No one knows where he is. He's probably dead somewhere around Australia.
Bryson Dello,
Formerly known as?
Brian Williams.
Williams.
So I'm going to say, Woods, talking about jerseys, that might be one of my more random ones. I've got a Brian Williams Denver Nuggets jersey somewhere. So,
awesome.
Bryson Dello, certainly had some. He was a strange sort of a player, wasn't he? But yeah, that was all very sort of sad what happened to him.
Great documentary that's been come out recently, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, it's probably my favorite center of that era in the 90s. You know who I'm talking about. He would sweat in the snow. I'm speaking of.
Has he got a number 33 on the front of his jersey by any chance?
He does indeed.
Good old Pat Ewing.
Love
He's doing
Patrick
his Pat
Ewing,
little
man.
rolling. Is he signed that card for you? Then,
Yep.
Woods? Is that hand signed?
It's not hand signed, but it's
damn.
still a really nice looking card, isn't it?
I don't remember that card actually. Yeah, it's interesting. That's a very nice looking card.
Yeah.
Is it an insert or is it a normal card?
It's just I think maybe you get one special one, a pack potentially, right? Yeah.
Very nice. I like it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you have a Patrick Ewing jersey, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Your love for him, you do.
Of course I do, bro.
Nice. What, you got a Seattle Sonics one, right? Or...
No, I got an Orlando Magic one.
Number 6 or something.
Yeah, I've got a Knicks one. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. This guy played more seasons than 20 plus seasons in the NBA. Veteran big man. Affectionately referred to as the Chief. I'm speaking of none other than...
he might be joining... Who else did I mention earlier this year? Stephen Jackson. So he's probably hanging out with Stephen Jackson. I think it might be talking about good old Robert Parrish.
Yeah, Robert Parrish.
Wow.
This is when he was at the Hornets.
Charlotte, right? Yeah, geez, that doesn't look right. I remember him with Chicago sort of in those later years after he left Boston. But
I think his last season was at Chicago, right? That championship in 97, maybe, right?
What sort of height and weight have they got him listed as, Woods? He's a big boy.
244.71. Yeah,
that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good pack so far.
Yeah.
All right. Center forward, rest in peace to him. Passed away recently. Played for the Pacers, the Kings.
Wayman Tisdale.
There's
a couple of rest in peace in this one. Yeah, he was a very handy player, wasn't he? What was his musical instrument too, Woods?
I can't remember. I know he did play something. Yeah,
played something, didn't he?
Was it the piano?
Let me look. Wayman Tisdale. Riveting for people sort of following this, I know. He was like a jazz sort of guy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a trumpet or something, or something. But anyway, he's had a few albums out, actually. Yeah. Interesting. Bass guitar.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Underrated Charlotte Hornets guard. He was a great shooter. Played on those teams. Played on that 92-93 team with Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues.
Rex Chapman?
No. Alonzo Mourning. He's a role player off the bench, but he could fill it up. Had a good shot on him. I'm talking about
Percy Hawkins back then, right?
No, I'm talking about.
Give me a number or something.
Number 55.
55. That doesn't help me.
David Wingate.
Oh, Wingate, North Carolina, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that one.
No, Georgetown.
Okay. Yeah. He bounced around a bit, didn't he, Wingate?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we've had this guy before, but the best clue I could possibly give you is, excuse me, Mr. Officer.
Oh, no. Officer Oldham. Nice. Is he doing an arrest there? It's always good when we get Oldham Polonese coming on there. He was a big boy. What was he? Haitian, was it, Woods? Or?
Yeah. Haitian.
From Haiti?
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think when they had that big, like, like it's like the tsunami or something. He was sort of pretty, helpful with doing that sort of stuff when he wasn't, pulling people over and arresting them. So yeah, good old Officer Olden Polynice.
Okay, 2 random players here. Okay, Rockets swingman number 3 plays the 3
Matt
spot.
Bullard.
No,
Bob Sura.
Man. Sharp shooting forward who can light it up from outside. A product of the University of Wyoming. Tim Breaux. Breaux.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. What else can you tell me about him, Woods, apart from...
He appeared in his first NBA game November 5th, 1994 against the Timberwolves. Another highlight from Breaux's playing career includes a selection to the 1993 CBA All-Second Team while playing for the Sioux Falls Skyforce. So,
that was some terrible facts on the back of that card. That was obviously the best I could find for him with those sort of facts.
There's no stats for him either. So I don't think he'd actually played many games, right?
Okay,
this is really random. Okay, he's a European player for the Atlanta Hawks. I remember him.
Okay.
A member of the Russian national team.
Sergei Bazarovich.
Yes, bro. Sergei. Well done, man.
Mate, how's that for a find, that one? Yeah. I remember him. So I think
I remember him too, yeah.
I think it was the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. I remember he was really, really good then. I think they might have been the 92. It was one of those Olympics there. I think he might have got signed off the back of that there. But have a look at the guy there. Yeah, he was, he's got, looks a lot older than maybe he was. Or was he old then?
So he was... at that time, 34 or 33.
Okay, wow. You're pretty impressed. I got Sergei Bazarovich.
Yeah. I knew you'd get that one.
Did you? Yeah.
Yep. What do we have here? We have one of the greatest point guards of all time. He was on the Dallas Mavericks team as a rookie, and then came back and won a championship with the Dallas Mavericks many years later in the back end of his career.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Jason Kidd.
Oh, yeah, Jason Kidd. Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
My bad. Nice. Very good.
Yep. Okay. Played with LeBron James in his early years at Cleveland. Okay, this is his Minnesota Timberwolves card. Had a 50-point game, if I'm not mistaken. All right, I'm speaking...
Andre Miller.
No. It's played on the early years in the Cavs team. I'm pretty sure he had a 50-point game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, great teammate of LeBron James. 6'9" forward from University of Pennsylvania. On those very early 2004, 5, 6 Cavs team. He was a great teammate. Daniel Marshall. He did have a 50.
I remember he had the 3-point record.
Oh, maybe it was a 3-point record. It was the 3-point record. Right?
I remember it was like, you kidding me? Daniel Marshall hit was it? I forget how many threes it was, 10 or something maybe?
Yeah, well, not a 50-point game. It was a 3-point record.
It was a 3-point record, yeah. No, he was handy. I think I might have his Minnesota jersey somewhere.
Have a quick look what that record was, by the way.
Daniel Marshall 3 record.
Yeah.
3-point record. So he had a career high of 38 Woods, and he hit 12 3-pointers.
There you go. That's 12. That stood for a long time, that record, man.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Wow.
Okay, the final card's got Michael Jordan on the front of it, right?
Wow.
And it's called the World of Trivia card. So I'm going to ask you this question.
Hey, who is that under Jordan on the front of that? What's that supposed to be?
Huh?
The little picture under Jordan there on the front.
Dr. Basketball's World of Trivia. That's what it says. So I think it's got a
what do you got
trivia question. Michael Jordan's list of achievements in the NBA is extraordinary. He was the only player other than Will Chamberlain to score more than 3,000 points in a season, and is the NBA's all-time career scoring average leader with 32.3 points per game. It wasn't just offense where Jordan excelled. In 1986-87, he became the only player in NBA history with at least 200 steals and 100 blocks in the same season. Okay, so it's just a fact. Okay. Dr. Basketball says Jordan's NBA career was a grand slam. Okay, so...
Hey, would that Dr. Basketball have got Sergei Bazarovich?
No, I don't think
he probably wouldn't have got it, would he? Even though he's a doctor and everything.
No chance Dr. Basketball would have got that.
Nice. Hey, good pack. Got to say, Woods, that's a pretty good series, those ones. I certainly collected those earlier Upper Deck ones, but I wasn't still collecting at that stage.
I agree, man.
Some interesting ones there, and sort of, a few sort of, types of cards that I've sort of forgotten a little bit about there. So,
and they look good. Like, that's what the Daniel Marshall insert looks like, really nicely done, right? So
nice. No, good job, Woods. You did a good job with that. I think I handled myself all right, hopefully. So, all right. So it's nice to have the classic packs back. So, well, that brings us to to the end of the show, Woods, and I said I wanted to keep these shows 48 minutes or less, so we went really well this week. We want to sort of keep it less than an actual full game of basketball. I think that's the recipe for these sort of shows now. So, look, just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Or obviously wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just a reminder where we can be followed. So on Twitter, we're at Throwbacks Hoops. Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. And, of course, our email address, throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. So keep any questions or suggestions or comments, coming through either via social media or via email. What do you want to plug for us, Woods?
Well, Patreon, jump on there, support us if you can, and look below. You'll see our Instagram and Twitter handles as well on the screen. So yeah,
we will see that after I edit it later on, right?
Definitely. Yes, exactly.
And we should apologise. I think I might have mentioned last week when we had those slides up. Oh, isn't this good? You can see the slides and see the both of us. Well, Woody and I can see that, but when it came out when we did our edit of the podcast, it was still how it always was, just with the one of our photos in the slides. So unfortunately, we can't do anything about that. But yeah, hopefully it comes through okay. So. All right. So, just wanted to really thank everyone for tuning in. As I said before, and as we mentioned, a very big show next week. It's probably going to be a little bit of a different show. We might not do classic packs and a few things, but, hey, we've got an NBL head coach on next week, and, probably one of he's done a couple of interviews since he's been head coach across, with some people, but, we had him first before, he was a household name, I guess. So looking forward to have Coach Jacob Jackomas next week. Any final words or anything for us, Woods?
No, man, pretty excited for next week and as we lead up to the start of the NBL season. So really good shows coming up. So thanks for everyone's support and keep tuning in. Yeah.
Do you think it would be inappropriate if I wore a Duop Reith jersey next week with Jacob coming on? Because it's such a nice jersey and I want to wear it, but maybe I can wear it and just get a few stories about him. I'm sure Jacob's not going to be, that mad that he's left to chase the money to go overseas, right?
Oh, man, everyone's got to feed for their provide for their family,
exactly right.
So
short careers these guys too. So, all right. Well, on that note, just wanted to really thank everyone for tuning in to episode 41 of Throwback Hoops. Can't wait to do it all again next week. Peace out from the Throwback Hoops crew.